we have a guest who is certified and ready to have this conversation with us. She is Oyeyinka Banjo, and Oyeyinka Banjo is a business consultant. She recently got appointed as the Regional Director, West Africa, for the 1 Million Teachers Project, an educational social intervention project which originated from Ontario, Canada, and seeks to improve the effectiveness and welfare of teachers in sub-Saharan Africa. Oyeyinka Banjo is a learning-oriented person, and she is here with us in the studio to talk about the prospects of homeschooling in Nigeria. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you on the show. You look amazing. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so would you? Okay, let me do the honors. We're having a conversation already, even before we started the show.
Okay.
Yes, and then I was saying that I was going to ask you on the show. Let's start from the scratch. What exactly is the kind of education that a regular child in Nigeria should have?
Okay. Let me answer that by first defining what education is.
Sorry.
Because a lot of times we limit education to just subjects. And that's just a minute portion of it. So education is the act of giving instructions, building a process where any individual, especially children, acquire knowledge, instructions to live in a certain way, in a certain acceptable way. So you asked me, what is homeschooling? Now, homeschooling is that act of ensuring that children have instructions and acquire knowledge that makes them live in a certain way. But it is done not in a formal school environment. It will be done in the house, or not just in your own house, in clusters with other children, but not in a formal school environment.
How exactly can we improve the existing standards of education in Nigeria?
Okay. Number one, I think there has to be more parent-tutors collaboration.
Okay.
Because parents need to start waking up to the realization that they can influence what the schools teach their children. Now, what I say is, without intending to make a mess of any school or their processes or their structure, a lot of the things that these children learn in school are not necessary. And they are learning that, wasting time at the expense of other life skills. I can't remember what I studied in accounting, sincerely speaking. Even though older now, I use some bit of it, but it was not what I remembered. It was what I just learned now. So I think to be more effective in the Nigerian setting, I think what we need to do is to have more collaboration with school owners and try to influence what our children are doing. Now, employing digitalization, we want to use modern apps. We want to use researches and see, okay, what is globally acceptable? What is happening in other climes aside Nigeria? Because it is normal now, an average person does not want their child to live at some point in the country.
Yes.
I mean, without any insult on our beloved Nigeria. We want them to go out and learn and then come back here and implement what they have learned. So a lot of learning takes on online these days. A lot of knowledge is acquired. A lot of information is passed out there that are even more than subjects.
Okay.
I'm always very particular about life skills. I'm particular about things like emotional intelligence, things like critical problem solving, things like communication, leadership skills. So all those things, I mean, you can find apps that can teach you. With the support of the parents, you can begin to teach your children that at home. And also the subjects, since the subjects are so important to them passing a phase in their lives, you can actually employ all those things to teach the children, because sometimes the methods employed in schools do not just drive it home. It's too abstract. I'm sorry to say. I tutor my children at home myself. It's too abstract. I don't know how you're going to teach economics without bringing it home to your own family budget. Without bringing it home, you can't teach my son demand and supply without letting him know how it influences what we buy and what we spend at home.
We have a lot of people that are hustling and bustling. Let's use Lagos.
Lagos,
for example. The moment it is 4 o'clock,
you're up.
Oh, you're up. 4 a.m. You're
not getting back home till like 10, 11.
Yes. Exactly. Plus the traffic. So I want to know how that is even a reality in Nigeria. Homeschooling, and who can be homeschooled? Because you've already you've demystified homeschooling to us, and we want to know who can be homeschooled and what is the reality.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody can be homeschooled. I tell you. You see, the curriculum is available everywhere. Nigerian curriculum is available, British curriculum is available, Canadian curriculum is available. It's everywhere. So you can actually have access to it and teach your own children if you have the skills. It is because she had the skills. But if you do not have the skills and you want to embrace homeschooling, then you may have to partner with some professionals, with some tutors that you can trust. So anybody can be homeschooled, and it is actually achievable. It's achievable, but the parents have to be available. Okay. And that is the clause. How do we achieve that?
How do we exactly?
That's the question, and we've gotten to a point where these questions need to be answered. How do you achieve that as a busy parent? And another question that pops out is, okay, you have your children within comfort of your home or in clusters learning from homeschool, and there's someone or you as a parent can't do that. And there's a question of certificate.
Yes.
Because if you were going to get through to the university, or there's certain things you might want to acquire in the process of life that requires this certificate and documentation. So how do you go about it if your child did not see the walls of a classroom?
Okay, number one, for common entrance as governed by WAEC, it is possible for you to register as a private tutor, as a private student. Even for GCEs and SSC exams, you can register as a private student. Now, let me repeat, I am not saying that homeschooling is the only approach, but for people who may find it difficult or not cost-effective for them to send their children to all the schools that children attend, they can actually employ homeschooling. You will register your child at that point when the child needs to sit for common entrance or the child needs to sit for GSS exam. It may even be at that point. Trust me, go and register your child at the point where they are in year 9, where they sit for checkpoints and GSS exams. The school will absorb them. The school will, for that 1 year, the school is going to absorb them. Because you will see the school can have a peep into the child's assignments, into the child's homework. Because, like I said, you download the curriculum you want to follow. So if it's a British curriculum, and you go register the child in a British school where the child can sit for IGCSE checkpoint for year 9, it is obvious that the child has scaled through all those subjects. The child has been tutored, the child has passed all those tests and examples and all of that. And I repeat, in this Nigeria, that certification year, they will absorb your child.
Now, I would be a parent someday, and I want to I want to do this. I want to become a parent that homeschools her child, tutors her child. But how do I go about it? Because right now in my mind, I'm feeling like probably don't even have the basic skills. I don't have the knowledge, but I want to do it. Find a way to tutor my child. How do I start? What step do I take?
If you do not have the skills, you need to employ a tutor.
Okay.
Now, like I discussed with my friends, and I'm like, the joke is on us. We employ tutors anyway for after schools.
True.
And we still send these children to these very expensive schools. And the tutor will tell you that his or her job is to teach the child ahead of class and not to do the projects and the assignments. So the child is still stuck in projects and assignments, and you come back at 10 and you're still dealing with it. And you pay in millions every term anyways. So are we really putting too much pressure on ourselves? Are we really using our hard-earned funds in ways that are not effective for us to even have the desired future for these children? Build them the legacies that we want. So I think anybody can be homeschooled, like I said. You need the help of tutors if you're not a professional. I do the life skills. I don't do subjects, unless they're subjects like maybe economics, literature in English, or English language. Yes. But for other things, I would use tutors. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be a child per home. It can be a cluster of children, which my friends and I just started doing. It is cost effective because then you have one subject teacher coming home and they're charging you 50K per subject. And you just run only 5 subjects and you're paying 250,000 naira in a month for one child to have homeschooling, to have after school. You can cluster them up. It is more cost effective. The teachers are going to take much less because it's like a part-time work for them. They can do the hours that are necessary and then they go do some other things. Nigeria has to come to that level where we don't have to do morning to evening work. People can do work by the hours. People can do work and they can do 2-3 jobs at a time. Because that's what we have abroad. They'll say they are hustling. They are hustling. What are we hustling about? We go to work in the morning and then we sit down there till evening, not having achieved anything. But if things are based hourly, if our wages are paid hourly, then we'll be more cost effective. So there's a lot of things wrapped up in this educational issues, the systems, and the tutors and the parents. But the bulk of the issue is from us, the parents, because we want to be engaged in several other things, and we just want to leave our children in the care of one person. Bam! I have left the child there in the morning. Drop,
responsibility
go
of
and
the
pick
school.
up. In the night, what we'll deal with is when we come back. What is the assignment? Tell the child you submit next week. These are all the things that happen. This is reality. I'm a parent. So if you're doing homeschooling, number one, the child is a bit streamlined into the irrelevancies that they can take on. Focus on the subject. At the end of the day, anyway, if you want to do IGCSE, most international exam, you're writing 6 subjects. And the child in school will be doing 14, 12,
15
for what?
subjects.
And they're strained, they're stretched. And you have to pass them, because if you don't pass them, it brings down your GPA.
True. There was a time we had a guest on the show, and she was talking majorly on Montessori.
Okay.
And then she talked about how important it is for parents to send your kids to Montessori. Now, let's put it side by side. Homeschooling, Montessori. Okay. What do you think?
All right. What is Montessori? Whether she defined it or not, my children did Montessori. And by the time they were doing it, I had, with all sense of modesty, I had my sons coming up and say, Mom, you're right. I was taught to pick something like this. I was taught to count. I was already teaching them that at home. Montessori molds your early child behavior. They teach you, I don't know, I've forgotten what they call it, that is pincer grip or pincher grip or something. There's a word, I'm not sure that I pronounce it correctly.
Practical knowledge.
Yes, they tell you how to grip. They tell you how not to be clumsy. They teach you how to pronounce in a certain way that aids your spelling of that particular word. So they take their alphabet in a certain way. And I tell you, what are you doing? Before your child is registered in that school at age 2, the child has started talking. The child has started walking. The child has started dropping things on the floor. And you tell that child to pick up that thing that the child dropped. My 2-year-old nephew, when he makes a mess, he looks my way, looks his mommy's way. I'm sorry. I'm going to clean it right now. He cleans it. He didn't have to go to... I did not have to go to Montessori before I knew how to walk. My father tutored me, even though my mother was very much, much of an influence in my life. My father tutored me. He would tell you, no, you're not walking like a lady. No, don't be clumsy. No, if you're going somewhere, you package the gift, wrap it nicely, and carry your handbag like this. That was my dad. And I was a girl. I'm from a family of all girls. So, yes, and it played that vital role in our lives. What is Montessori? It is just putting it in an academic setting. Now, if the child had learned from home the Montessori skills that he or she is going to learn in school, when he goes to school or she goes to school, it is just it is more enforced. It is more ingrained in the person's character. Sometimes the methods employed in schools do not just drive it home. It's too abstract.